Good evening, guys. Welcome into our 24th episode of Three Men on the Record. So glad to see Thomas and
Stacy's out there.
Stacy and everyone else is being quiet in the chat right now. Welcome in. Um, so today we got Jim from Retro Retreat with us today. We also have our usual three of the 500, and we're also doing the top five John Cougar Mellencamp. And I am on location at the local Tasty Freeze. And welcome in, guys. And so we usually start off with saying hello to our guest, and our guest is Jim. How you doing tonight, Jim?
I'm doing great. I was actually supposed to be down at Scott's, but I ended up leaving his records in my wife's car. She took it to her office, so I could not come without them. So
Tomorrow.
I will be leaving early in the morning. I probably won't get there before you do, but I still got dibs on the good bedroom.
And also, guys, we also have, if you notice, Jake is back. Our HR department is present.
Hey!
Thank God. He's the worst HR guy in the history of organizations, but he's our HR guy.
Whatever I can do to better the team, I'm here for that.
You were missed. My wife said she didn't miss the rentals and the 20-minute dissertation on Pink Floyd, but we're gonna get that today, I'm sure, because we might see some Pink Floyd albums tonight.
We might get an hour.
Yeah. All right. So now this is where we ask the guests some real hard-hitting questions, and the first one is: in the shrink or out of the shrink? How do you keep your vinyl?
Well, I love in the shrink, obviously, with the hype sticker. I'm pretty crazy about that. I always cut it nice on the line, leave it in the shrink. Obviously, if it starts curling, I take it out. But I love finding OG stuff in the shrink. That's pretty much my,
How do you feel about white label promos?
Okay, I was going to ask.
I was about to ask.
Is it true that you can smell a white label promo?
I just got, I guess, a keen eye. I mean, I don't know how much more of a value it adds to it. I know I like them personally, but I'm sure it adds a little bit of a value. But Scott's always, when we're shopping, is always like, oh, and then I'm like, well, that's a promo.
That
Like,
sample sticker. You look for that sample sticker.
Yeah, it's just an extra cool factor. I think it's kind of like the hype sticker, and then
Oh yeah. It's the first off the line, so it's the first one that's not all changed. And yeah, outer shrink hype stickers are overrated. All right, Tom. All right, so what's the next question is: if you could see someone, a band or a person live, see them live, living or dead, well, living and dead, so you're living artist that you'd love to see that you haven't seen before?
Either or both.
Well, we'll do living first and then dead after.
Well, I thought about Pink Floyd. Obviously, they're not dead, but it'd be like monumental if they ever got back together. It would be like, I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to even get tickets for it if they decided to do one more big bang, But Led Zeppelin would be crazy too. But I mean, just the two members are still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
would be pretty cool. But dead. I mean, I missed Tom Petty by like a couple of weeks. I was supposed to go, and then I ended up having to watch my daughter. My wife went with her friends to like one of the last concerts that he actually did. It's like story I think one of you guys said once before. I mean, Tom Petty, everybody, I think Bly was saying something about that too. I mean, a few people said Tom Petty, but I was actually supposed to see the Grateful Dead too. In the summer of like 95, like I had tickets and Jerry died like two months before or a month before. So it's like same thing, like
yeah,
multiple bands. But I've seen a lot of good bands, and I mean, I'm happy that I got to see a lot of bands, and I don't really go to that many shows anymore. I saw Santana last year. I think I want to see them he's playing with the Dewey Brothers again. This summer. I mean, that'd probably be a pretty cool show. I know America's playing again locally, like in a small venue at CW Post. I think that's where Janet went to college.
Did Tom, didn't you go see America? Did Thomas go see America? I thought he did.
He saw ELO and maybe America. I forget. So here's the last question. I'm adding this to the new because I'm always looking for the best slice of pizza. So what is the best slice of pizza you've had?
Well, right now, my wife and I usually get it's like the grandma pizza. It's like a Sicilian but really thin, and they put like a light sauce, basil, and just like light cheese, like mozzarella cheese. They make that with alavaca sauce, which is like really, really good. Just alavaca sauce, light. But I also like spicy pepperoni with hot honey sauce.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot.
And it's like spicy peppers, but they're almost like sweet pepper, spicy pepperoni, and hot honey sauce. It's pretty interesting. I mean, that's pretty much like my new favorite thing. But there's so many types of pizza here. It's like crazy. There's so many artisan type of mixes, and it's
so close to the mecca of New York style pizza. So yeah, I'm a little jealous. All right, so let's go on next. What do we got? We saw that Dave Mason, Dave Mason, not Dave Edmonds. Dave Mason passed away.
Yeah.
So again, guys, if you get a chance to see an artist, go, because you never know when that last show will be.
Like Traffic fame, and solo fame.
Like my mother-in-law had tickets for Elvis in Maine. It was the show before. He was supposed to go to Maine next. Missed out on that. But you get a chance, guys, go. Don't hesitate.
Was Dave Mason touring, or?
I don't think so. I don't know what his health was before, but no, I'm not sure. But
that was like my brother winning tickets to see Nirvana at the Astro Hall, and Kurt Cobain fell into a coma when he was over in Europe, and everybody thought that the concert was canceled, and my brother took the tickets back for a refund. Guess what? Kurt Cobain's last concert, guess where it was at? In Houston, Texas.
I know.
At the Astro Hall. Stinks.
Yeah.
It stinks that we all have that. We all go through that. You miss a concert because maybe you didn't have enough cash or something went down and then something tragic happens.
Yeah, and if it's a dumb reason, just go. So this is the next part of the show where we show some of the vinyl that we picked up the past week, the new arrivals. We always start with our guest, Jim. Anything new for your vinyl?
Well, I was going to show. Scott picked me up the record store today, Pink Floyd, which is I'm going to get tomorrow. So I was happy that
there it is. Yeah. So it's live. What, 1975?
Yes.
So you get more of the. What do you get on that?
So you get a lot of Dark Side of the Moon.
Get some Wish You Were Here too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get a lot of Dark Side, but you also get Raving and Drooling and You Gotta Be Crazy, which were songs that were eventually on Animals.
Cool. So hopefully you guys got all your RSD choices. Anything else, or was that your main pickup for the week?
I did find this in the wild recently. First press.
Yeah, I've had it. It took me a while to sell it. It was crazy.
So I'll probably be selling it, so I won't be telling anybody how much I paid for it. But I might keep it. I gotta give it a good listen. But and then I've been trying to replace some of my really, really favorite ones with Japanese press. So I found a really, really good copy of the Who by Numbers.
Cool.
So this has a poster, which I don't even know the American came with, which is pretty cool. But a lot of the American copies even have the numbers filled out.
Yeah, the lines. Even people drew the lines and stuff. Yeah.
Even us as a kids were filling them out. And I had to grab this for myself just because I love this album too. So I just wanted to keep this one. Well,
you should buy that Physical Graffiti box set in the Big Show Saturday night, Jim. That'd look good on your shelf.
Yeah, it would look nice right up there on the top there.
Scott and I ended up getting 2 of these, and we were going to put the one in the Big Show. And we actually had 2, so we couldn't decide. So we both treated ourselves to just keeping these.
Good, guys. It's all right to keep some.
Yeah.
Which is this is a German press actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters.
Das Ringo. No, Das George.
Only if it's a white label promo.
Possibly is that in.
All right, who's next? Who wants to go next?
Well, I'll go ahead and go since I showed off one record. I'll show it off again. Pink Floyd Record Store Day. Live 75. I'm a sucker for anything and everything Pink Floyd. And
Did you have to wait in line for that?
no, I got this from a seller on Whatnot
Oh,
from Sean. I was actually on the phone with Sean, and I kind of told him, hey, I've got a list of stuff. And he's like, I'm in this show. And I'm like, where are you at? And he told me. I went in, checked it out. I'm like, oh, man, he's got a few things. But he had it in the buy it now. So I just went in, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it was the rock shop out of King of Prussia, PA. He has several shops in malls. And he did RSD the right way, which was nice.
You didn't get the other one today?
So the other one I got is one of 150 copies. This is live and for sale. This is 1988. During the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour, this is an unofficial 3LP press, but there's a huge reason why it's important, why I wanted it. Unfortunately, what I didn't realize is that the reason I bought it was on this album, David Gilmour sings Welcome to the Machine, which he pretty much stopped doing in the 80s. And this happened to be one of the songs on the album that he did sing, which is why I bought it. And what's hilarious is that there are two tracks that are an audience recording and not the soundboard. And one of the audience recordings
Is that
was
song?
Welcome to the Machine. Now, it didn't sound terrible. All in all, this thing sounds great. I'm very pleased with it. And the audience recording was not terrible. I was actually happy. But I will grab one that hopefully is more soundboard or something that pops up that is official. I really hope that on the Record Store Day, Floyd, they would have it, but they do not have Welcome to the Machine on that. And then thirdly, I got Jeff Buckley live at Olympia. Big Buckley fan. I did miss out on the Weezer, which is what I wanted to get. But thank you, Scott, for grabbing the Dog's Eye View. And I'm also getting another copy from Stacy and Danny because you always got to have one to rock and one to stock. So I'll be stocking one of them, and I will be jamming the other one out nonstop because it's the first time it's been pressed on wax. So thank you, sir.
I guess I'll go next. I haven't got my RSD titles yet, but they're coming. So I haven't listened to obviously the Jeff Buckley yet. But I did pick up because last week, I had this last week is my essential, so I got that, and then this week I found an OG. The wax is beautiful on this one, so I have Patti Smith, and I forgot she sang Because the Night. I forgot she co-wrote it with Bruce. Completely forgot because we're used to that 10,000 Maniacs version from the Unplugged. I also picked up this one here because it's a different cover. I kind of like the cover, and I want to. Well, it's not. Well, it's my green screen.
Damn green screen.
I picked up the Beatles on Electone. You guys know what the Electone is?
Never saw that record in my life.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's interesting.
Just bin that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have McCartney's Man on the Run from his documentary that I haven't watched yet. And it has a couple different songs, nothing major, but when you're a Beatles fan, you kind of collect everything. Then I have my own copy of Olivia Rodrigo, and she drops the F-bomb a lot. I was amazed, or I don't know, amazed, but she The kids love her, but she drops the F-bomb like crazy. I think that was all my.
That's why they love her. She's edgy.
And then I got a very hard record to find. And I got a Scorpions in the Shrink with the Hype.
Scorpions.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a gatefold.
Any Muppets?
Nope.
Muppets Take Manhattan.
No, I already own those.
Any reference to Muppets will be edited out in post-production.
She's the best angry girl in music, according to Stacy. So those are my picks for the week.
All right.
My new arrivals.
My new arrivals. I'll finish with my record store day ones, but I want to shout out to our good friends Johnny and Retta. Din Bosch. This was the only record I asked him to find. This is you can only get this in the Cheap Trick box set, and I wasn't going to buy that because I have all the other presses. But this was a 90 or 91 release, so very hard. It wasn't pressed in the U.S. It was pressed in Europe. So they, as they always do, they found it. And because shipping's better, I grabbed a Mazzy Star 2 from them. Then Record Store Day, Billy Squire.
There it
Tell the
is.
Truth. Never on vinyl before. The brand new, and I had just seen them 2 weeks ago, the brand new Collective Soul record. And this is funky sounding. This is like new wave. It's I like it. But it's not typical Collective Soul. Got Bryan Adams, Tough Town. This is basically a rarities record. It's different songs that maybe were B-sides but didn't make the cut or he had laying around. And had to get the Tony Bennett Unplugged because all the Unplugged records sound so good, and I like Tony Bennett.
Love that album.
But the one that made me get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and stand in line to make sure I got it was this Mark Knopfler and Emmylou Harris, all the road running. This, if you don't know this record, it is terrific, and the press, they did a dynamite job. It sounds really good.
Yeah, YouTube the Mark Knopfler, Mary Lou. You'll see some footage from that show. It's amazing.
They sound great. Good songs, really good batch of songs. So if you like Dire Straits, it's Dire Straits adjacent. It's Mark Knopfler playing guitar. There's some killer songs on it.
Souls, what Pink Floyd? The unofficial or the RSD?
So all right, so we're at the next part of our show where we this is where we start our 3 men on the record of 500 essentials. We all going to present 3 records that we going to put up as in our essential list. It is stuff, it's not necessarily that you have to own it, but we really want you to make sure that give it a listen. Maybe it is for you. If it's not, that's fine because everyone has different taste. But this is a great place to learn new music. And that's why we'd like to share with you. And so here we go. And Jim, we'll have you go first with your first title for the night.
Right. The first one is Dave Matthews, Under the Table and Dreaming. It's basically his debut album. This album's special to me mainly because I actually started following Dave Matthews in, I would say, 2000, 92, 93 range. A friend of mine that was actually in college, I was only in 11th grade when this came out in 94. We started going and seeing him like colleges, and we were getting like the bootlegs and everything from him playing. Actually saw him in 93, right before this came out, in New York City with Blues Traveler. So that was a pretty cool concert for, I was in 10th grade. I mean, literally, like my parents let me go into the city, and it was in, I think, Hammerstein Ballroom, which is like a pretty small venue. It was like a standing room. It was almost like a high school gymnasium almost, but it was really cool. Let's see. but I mean, over the course of 4 or 5 years after this album came out, I've seen Dave Matthews at least 30 times. Kind of fell off the train a little more. I want to get into some of the other albums that I'm going to talk about tonight, but let's see what I can say about the album. This album is 6-time platinum, 6 million copies sold as of 2000 in the United States. Worldwide, 8 million in worldwide. This album made Dave Matthews a major touring and commercial act. Basically made it an arena act from something that was more like he was just like playing colleges and stuff before then. I pretty much love almost every song on this, and like if you hear some of this live, he brings a lot of the live to the studio albums, which makes it connect to his fan base, because they all, were following him from the live shows. He's more like a Grateful Dead type of band, or the Fish, that people just tour and they don't really like the studio stuff, but kind of bridges that together. He also, the whole album has a distinct music movement that it's more like alternative rock, and it wasn't grunge and it wasn't pop either. It was like a whole new like avenue that kind of he brought together, and the way that each band contributes has like a distinct the way they interplay, like the violin and the saxophone, the way they play is definitely distinct to like Dave Matthews, I think. And I think it's a special aspect to the whole album, just that they have a violin and a saxophone, and that sort of difference. What else was I going to say?
Well, I think that, shortly, I mean, you have that, and then you have Crash, and there was definitely a few years there where Dave Matthews was probably the number one band. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
With that concert following, and Jim's right, they have like that. When I think like does anybody approach the live cult following like the Dead? And I'm not putting Dave Matthews in the same category as the Dead, but they had a following like that. People would go to 20 stops on the tour in one tour, and the bootlegging was huge. And like the Dead, they encouraged it, go do it. Then I think it endears people to a band when they're really open to, unlike Don Henley and the Eagles, where you can't, if you sneeze and you hit a note in Hotel California, they're going to block you. Dave Matthews, and to the Dead's credit, they were totally open to people doing that.
I mean, I saw him like 30 times in about 4 years. So we were going, we would like jump in the car, go to Vermont, sleep in the car, and then drive to like Boston. Like they had like tent, like you could rent a spot at like a camper place, but had like a barbecue and stuff, so we could like barbecue, but we just like sleep in a tent or a car, go to the show, and then like go to Jersey, and then like head back to Long Island, like go back home, shower up and everything, and then go to a show locally. We would just go to like 4 shows in a row.
Like Great Woods, Jones Beach, Camden.
Jones Beach,
Jones Beach is pretty close to where I live, so I was just like able to stop and then a few days be home. But yeah, I went to Waterloo a few times. I went to I think Camden, and then we went to Hartford a couple of times. There's a big arena there with like the grass in the back, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah, he's if I ever go to the Red Rocks, that's who I want to see. I've not
That
seen
would be
him
a
live.
great. That would be a great.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
mean,
seen
any
him.
concert's great at Red Rocks, but that would be a great one.
Yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
I think I'd want more than anything. And he also has some. I mean, he's paid a lot of tribute to Jimmy Buffett. So there's some things he's taken from Jimmy Buffett and with the style that he plays too.
Yeah,
So-
Buffett would be another one in that category where they really have this really dedicated cult following.
Because he often covers some of the Jimmy Buffett songs quite regularly too. So yeah,
I always considered Dave Matthews, because I will agree, Jim. You know, the first time I listened to that album was my sophomore year in high school, and it was during our one-act play, contest. I think we were at area competition when I first played it, and it definitely was a different sound. Like, I remember sitting there thinking, like, this is unlike anything I've heard, coming from a lot of the grunge that I grew up with in the early 90s, getting into alternative rock. And I kind of look at Dave as like kind of like alternative jazz. It's like alternative rock with a lot of jazz tones. I mean,
Well,
it
certainly
does
so.
pay to have Carter Buford as your drummer, who is probably one of the top 5 to top 10 best drummers ever.
Yeah, the musicianship in Dave Matthews Band's always been stellar.
Yeah. And then you factor in Tim Reynolds coming in later on. That guy's just, he's in his he's on his own planet.
A band that as time goes on, I always observe like who's getting a little bit left behind as far as getting the long-standing praise. Like, I don't hear a lot of people talk about Dave Matthews, and I'm like, Dave Matthews is outstanding, So to me, his recognition he gets in 2025 or 26 is not on the par that it should be. I think one day it will be, it'll come back, but they were so huge for probably 7 years. They were just a
Good 7
big
year run.
Yeah.
Just that album, and like that time in my life, I was also a sophomore. Like every like that was like the first album like I ever really like the words like resonated. Like I was actually able to like feel the music. You know what I mean? And just like it's just like I started like understanding like how music was, and it just like definitely was like the first time I started really realizing that music tells stories and stuff like that. So it was definitely special.
it was your high school year soundtrack.
I guess so. I mean, Crash came out a few years ago, the next year later, I thought. And I remember leaving school like first period, and like I just left with a couple of my friends, and we went to Tower Records and we bought the CD, and I was back by second period, and like sitting with the Discman, like hanging out when the bell rang. People were like, "What are you doing?" And like, "Oh, we got the new Dave Matthews CD," and everybody was like, "Wow," like all the girls wanted to like listen to it and everything, So it was just like.
Well, I think this album in particularly, and we probably need to move on, but it's a great pick. I will say that it's a great record, and
Great album.
it's they had the singles that were popular, but then you had songs like Dancing Nancy's and Ants Marching that are just so killer in concert. That's what makes a strong album. An album that has good singles and then really strong album cuts.
Typical Situation was my number 1 jam on that record.
That's a good song
played it
too. Like
back to back. Loved it.
I'm just looking at the song list. I think every song on it's pretty good, really.
And we can also, you guys, if you want to talk more about the Dave Matthews, we can continue on the Discord at any time in the 3 Men on the Record chat, because apparently it resonates with a lot of people, and we can utilize that since we can't talk about it for 3 hours. So thank you for that one. Who wants to go next? Jake?
I'll go next. Sure. I'll try to keep it quick. Some of these albums tonight that I'm going to mention some of y'all are probably going to be like, "Oh, it's about time." These are essentials that we probably should have touched base on eons ago. But sometimes you got to save the best for last, right? I probably should have mentioned this first record eons ago, but we get in our rhythms, and we start pulling out records that we get excited about because a lot of them might be independent records, and you feel like, hey, this is something that, I feel like everybody needs to hear that I'm sure doesn't. Well, everybody's heard this damn album. And the album that I am referencing is, well, one of my favorite bands, and that is 1973's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. That is crazy. Yes, it took months and months to finally get to the first album that really brought on true success for the Floyd. Even though Dark Side is not my favorite album, Wish You Were Here is my number one, I think, through and through from a listening experience. But this is the album that really broke through and broke all the barriers and basically put them at superstardom status, right? Approximately 45 million worldwide sold. I just want to point out the Muppet soundtrack made it to the list. That's a good point, man. Released March 1st, 1973. Produced by Pink Floyd, but also assistant engineering and processing by Alan Parsons, which a lot of people tend to give Alan Parsons probably more credit with significant production and engineering on this. I think his contributions are what really made this album unique. What I loved about the record when I first heard it was unlike any other Floyd album at the time that I had heard. Dark Side of the Moon was not my first record to listen to. I had actually listened to Piper at the Gates of Dawn and Saucer Full of Secrets before I listened to Dark Side. And this is kind of where I really start to fall in love with Floyd. Meddle, the album prior to, because you had Meddle, Obscured by Clouds, which is more of a soundtrack. But Meddle was really the record that kind of started the progression to get to Dark Side. But this really starts it. Obviously, one of the best-selling and most influential albums in all of rock history. I think we can all agree on that. And a lot of its content, a lot of its, what's the dang word?
Content.
Thank you, Sean. Is pretty much the same themes that Roger Waters has dealt with pretty much from this album onward. And a lot of that is having to do with loss, which, everybody knows that Syd Barrett's mental facilities kind of going away really caused a lot of upset within the band, and it affected everybody. But Roger Waters often wrote about a lot of that. And this is kind of one of those options. He really kind of gets more in depth by the time they get to Wish You Were Here. Didn't win any major Grammys, which is crazy. You would think that how many albums it sold and how successful it was, that it would have won something. It did not win anything significant, though it is charted as one of the best albums of all time. And this was kind of one of those first records where they really started getting into extensive multi-tracking. They started doing a lot of tape loops, got real experimental. And they did all the fun stuff, right? All the spoken word interviews that you can hear in the background, all the quadraphonic mixes and stuff. It just was complete departure from their psychedelia. And I really feel like this album threw all of that in the trash and really kind of sent them onward to really what made Pink Floyd Pink Floyd. So sorry it took me months to kind of get in and announce Dark Side, but I felt there were other albums that kind of needed to be mentioned because this is a no-brainer. Everybody knows this record. Everybody has it. Everybody's heard it. And if you haven't, I would tell you start with Wish You Were Here first and then go in and listen to Dark Side. But
I agree. Wish You Were Here is kind of the one to probably make people pay attention to people.
Now, what was that pressing? The SQ in the corner. What was that pressing that you were
It's the
showing us?
quadraphonic pressing.
Oh, the quadraphonic. Okay. So
Yeah.
this record has spent 990 weeks in the Billboard Top 200.
Yes.
990 weeks. That's longer than some of you have been alive.
They actually changed some of the rules for the Billboard charts because that record just stayed on the charts for so long. They went to this, what do they call it, catalog chart now, because it would regularly pop into the top 100 in any given year.
Well, in April last year was number 24
Yeah.
in top album sales.
Yeah,
So-
it obviously peaked number one on Billboard in 200, the Billboard 200 in 1973. And Pink Floyd was never really known for singles. They didn't really put singles out. They really weren't into that. And Money reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Money is not my favorite Pink Floyd song by any means. It's not my favorite song on the album. But sometimes, those songs that maybe might not be your favorite just happen to be the ones that, is a fan favorite and kind of moves up the charts. And
I've always thought of Pink Floyd as you listen to the whole album. You don't drop the needle anywhere but the beginning.
no, and again, see, it goes back to they were never really single artists, right?
Right.
They were never big into singles. And I agree. That's what I love about the Floyd is the fact that it is an album experience, keyword experience, from start to finish. That's what I love about Pink Floyd, because once you start, every album is different. Every album takes you on a different journey. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. You remember those books, right? That's kind of how I look at a lot of Floyd records. It's like choose your own adventure, put an album on. Where are you going? Because, sit down, buckle up. It's going to be fun and it's going to take you somewhere. And I think we all need a little bit of that, especially when times are hard.
All right. Scott, do you want to go next or?
Yeah, I can go. Okay, so we have been doing some reflecting on the list and realizing we're 300 in, and just like Jake said, it's probably time to put some obvious ones on there, like Dark Side of the Moon. And I think in some way, from a critical and influential and staying power standpoint, here's another record, The Smiths, Queen is Dead.
Yeah, right?
This and I will say, I want to own up. In 1986, when this record came out, I was not listening to the Smiths. It wasn't really in my listening profile. I was more listening to heavier rock and stuff like that. But I've really come to I think that's the benefit of opening your palate a little bit and say, I'm going to try some stuff. And as you age, you find out, oh, you know what? I do like this. And I do like the Smiths and that whole era, the Smiths, the Cure, Depeche Mode, Echo and the Bunnymen, Joy Division, New Order. I think you could say they kind of come from the same pool.
Sure.
And they're certainly influential. I would say the Cure was probably the biggest band from that. But in terms of the UK, not the Smiths. It's the fanfare and the love that people had for the Smiths was right out of the gate. While they were not charting, this album never even cracked the US top 200. In the UK, it was having top 20 singles. So it's one of those, and every once in a while there'll be artists that'll pop up. I'm thinking of Robbie Williams as another that had a lot of UK popularity, never really struck in the US. But the good thing for the Smiths is they are the influencing factor for so many bands. And what made me listen to the Smiths was when I'm a big The Killers fan, and they cite them as an influence. And once I started listening to the Smiths, I was like, I hear it in the way the lyrics are constructed and some of the imagery. Morrissey and Johnny Marr, Morrissey on the lyrics, they really are good at weaving these songs. I wouldn't say they're where the Cure has this darkness sometimes about them, or
They're very humorous.
Yes,
And the way that Morrissey writes, they're very humorous lyrics.
Yeah, there's a lot of satire in even the romantic songs, or even the ones that are talking about social issues of the day. It's always like he's got a little bit of Ray Davies in him, the way he kind of takes a little poke, or the cynicism. The Cure, I mean the Smiths, you know. And really all those groups, I think the next step beyond this in the music timeline is really shoegaze, right? Like it wasn't a big step from this, The Cure, Echo and the Bunnymen, and Depeche Mode to shoegaze. So anybody that is a fan of shoegaze, they're probably already a fan of the Smiths too. But just they could create great melodies. They don't have any songs that are just so catchy they're going to knock you out, but they have songs that are just really great listens. This The Boy with a Thorn in His Side, There's a Light That Never Goes Out, are some of the more enduring songs off this record. But it's really a good record. Every song very listenable. So we'll put it in the 500 tonight. I knew we needed a Smiths, and it came down between this and Meat is Murder, and I think this is probably their pinnacle right here. Queen is Dead.
All right, cool. All right, so my first pick is a song that, the album, we all know the album, the title of the album, and one of the big songs on this album. An amazing singer, songwriter, humanitarian. She donates books to school children around the country. And my pick is Dolly Parton's Jolene. And of course, Jolene was a big hit, number one hit for her in the country charts. And the big crossover hit was I Will Always Love You. Amazing song. And a song that was so good that Elvis wanted to sing it. But he wanted to take over the rights to the song. And she was smart enough to say, no. That's my song. I wrote it. I keep it. I don't care if you sing it. Not many people would say no to the king, but Dolly did. This came out shortly after her and Porter Wagner split ways. And I think that's kind of this I Will Always Love You kind of talks about that relationship they had. And this was the album she came out after they kind of disbanded. And Jolene, we've heard it, a million people cover it. I Will Always Love You. You've known it from, many people have sung it, but most recently would be Whitney Houston sang it probably better than anyone that's ever sung this song. So it only sold maybe about 1 million copies, but it has been reissued, and it's a pretty cool. It's basically identical to the OG, everything about it. So it kind of confuses people. I've seen people in the record store going, "Is this the original?" But they just made it look exactly the label. Everything is the same. But I think you guys should give this a listen. And she is a huge part of our culture. And this is the album that put her to the next stratosphere. And there's no one like her. So Jolene by Dolly Parton.
That's a great choice. Go ahead, Jake. You're going to say something.
Yeah, I really would say for me, what put Dolly on the map was probably 9 to 5 or Rhinestone singing with Sylvester Stallone. I'm drinking Stein.
Drinkenstein. Oh my God.
Is probably one of the most underrated hits.
Worst song ever.
Okay, let's get back to
Budweiser created a monster.
We'll get back to reality and just point out, like, any respectable list or poll is going to have Jolene as one of the top 10 country greatest songs ever. It's just, didn't the White Stripes or was it Jack White?
Jack White.
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't know if when he did cover it, whether he was still White Stripes or he had moved onward, but I loved his version too.
Yeah.
That's a great song. All right, so Jim, you're next with your second pick.
All right, so I have another Pink Floyd.
Get in there, dude.
So this album, I think this album was where they really discovered their identity, and I think it was the bridge that led to Dark Side of the Moon.
100%.
Without this album, there were a lot of experimentation, but I think this is where they really found their identity. And then, but this whole album is like a journey, just like Jake was saying. Dark Side of the Moon, Echoes, is 23 minutes long. I mean, the whole thing is it feels like it's this is what somebody wrote. Echoes spans 23 minutes. It feels let me see. It's an unfolding journey that slowly builds into something vast and emotional, then dissolves back into a quiet reflection. Listening to it is like hearing a song. It's more than listening to a song, more like experiencing a landscape. So it's definitely like a journey. I mean, and even Fearless too is one of my favorite songs on this. It's just, again, like with Dave Matthews, I was saying, like I wasn't really, when you listen to music on the radio, you don't really hear the whole albums. I just started getting more into like listening to the whole experience of the whole album. With records, it's definitely easier. CDs, people are more tend to skip over, what they like and they don't like. But that's the time that a friend actually gave me his parents' collection, which had Dark Side of the Moon, a lot of Led Zeppelin, and then I totally like stopped listening to all the new stuff. Dave Matthews, I quit all that, and I just was totally like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Neil Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash. I was just like hardcore, and then I just started going and seeing all those bands touring and everything, and then never really looked back to like listening to like the 90s stuff. I mean, was always kind of like an old soul with that stuff, but I think maybe when you hear some of those classic records like that, it's hard to fall in love with some of those newer bands, even though they're classic now too. Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, all those.
Well, I think Meddle. I mean, I was surprised that. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I know you really like Pink Floyd, but Meddle. I think we've got Pink Floyd covered now. I think we've got all the substantial. This is the sixth Pink Floyd record, the fifth Pink Floyd record. But
Animals has still not been mentioned.
Oh, that's true. So Animals is still out there, but it definitely is. When switching over and trying to. I think this is the album where they found their sound. What they were going to be. Losing Sid Barrett out of the band, and I mean, we know Roger Waters as, kind of opinionated, pushy guy that he is today, but I think at the time he was a little bit of a reluctant leader. And
he was in the very beginning. Yeah. Absolutely, man. From 68 to 71, all they were doing was trying to find their damn way.
Yeah. So I think Meddle's probably the record where they said, okay, we better find our way or we're going to be out of the way, and on the second side of that record, they find it. That's what you're going to hear later.
Yeah, and I always loved, just the vocal exchange between both David Gilmour and Richard Wright. Their voices are very similar, but they harmonize extremely well together. And in Echoes, it really kind of pays off, even on the live stuff, live at Pompeii as well. And they just do such a wonderful job.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Jake, what do you got for us? Another Pink Floyd?
No, another album that we probably should have talked about a while ago. Because this one's so damn good. In fact, this was her first album away from 10,000 Maniacs, and that would be Natalie Merchant's Tigerlily, which was released July 21st, 1995. Jennifer Turner, I love you dearly, my friend. Jennifer Turner was Natalie Merchant's backing vocalist. Her guitar player during this album also played live with her. She was musically and sound wise, she was all over this record and just contributed wonderful music. And I always make an effort to mention Jennifer Turner's name because she is a lot of the sound of this album. I mean, it had so many damn singles on it. It had Carnival, Wonder, Jealousy. It had River, which was a single in some territories, but it peaked at number 13 on the Billboard 200. Carnival and Wonder charted on the Billboard Hot 100, did well on the alternative and modern rock charts. And this album sold worldwide over 5 million. And I listened to it quite a bit. When it first came out, again, I mean, this was in 95, man. So I was 17 years old. So obviously still in my grunge and kind of alternative, phase at the time. But through all of that, there were albums that would kind of break through that. And I was one of those when I heard this. Man, I loved it. I probably wouldn't have told anybody at the time, when I was 17, but it was such a great album and still holds true today. If you haven't listened to Tigerlily, give it a listen because it is a phenomenal album. It is worth the mention in the top 500. Let's see what notes, because I really feel.
I will say Wonder is one of my favorite, probably a top 100 song. That bass line in Wonder is so, I mean, the theme of the song's beautiful and everything, but I just get sucked into that bass line on
Man,
Wonder.
I love Jennifer Turner's guitar playing on Carnival. The solo, everything about it. It's just smooth. It brings you in. I saw Jen Turner live. Probably a small venue in West Hollywood, probably in 2003, 2004. I think she's still out there. She's still kind of, doing things with other bands. But, it was, she was nominated for various awards in the mid 90s, got some Grammy nominations. And I'm trying to see, is there anything else I wanted to kind of mention on this? Cause I took some notes. No, there's nothing really else I put on there except it was produced extremely well. It just sounds great, man. It's unlike any other record. I kind of feel like the rocket sauce, if you will, leaving, a band that she was with for several years, coming in, putting this solo effort and selling, 5 million copies worldwide. I think every record kind of after this probably didn't do as great, but I just one of those records I felt, I don't know why I haven't talked about it or mentioned it. She's well-deserved in the 500. Natalie Merchant, Tigerlily is my number 2.
Like then when that came out.
Yeah, and I think
that was on MTV and everywhere. I mean, I had that album.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of left 10,000 Maniacs kind of like when they were peaking with the MTV Unplugged, and they'd had a couple hit records, and so it was interesting to see her come with something, and it was really strong. It is a good album, well deserved, and
start to finish.
We had talked when we were reviewing the list, and we said, hey, we're missing some critical female albums here. And the women kind of kicked it off for us because, with one of them we had on the list was Alanis Morissette. We got her in. We got Jewel in. We got Fiona Apple in. And Jake kind of finishes off those 4 records we were talking about with the Natalie Merchant. So all extremely strong records that you should listen to.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Scott, you're next.
Adam, can you guys start over, please?
All right. Well, I know this is one of Adam's favorite artists. So, all right. So talking about, anytime you're only partially way through the list, some of these things seem like errors in judgment, like why you haven't put something on. But really, like Jake said, there's some things no brainers. There's a spot reserved in the 500 for some of these records, right? Like Dark Side of the Moon. It's not going to make it.
Right.
Well, one of those, when I show this, you guys will say, duh, yeah. Let's talk about this record.
Yeah, I know. Like
Blizzard of
we're
Oz.
coming to the ones now where we're like, where's that been?
Yeah. So, this is for a metal record. Like, I am, the metal is just like one step out of my prime listening. I do love guitars, so metal does appeal to me, and I love me some Judas Priest and Scorpions and all that. But this record, the first time I heard Crazy Train, I thought it was the greatest rock song I'd ever heard. It was just amazing. Who is that playing guitar? And, kudos to, I guess really Sharon Osbourne deserves a lot of credit here because, trying to put the band together, finding Randy Rhoads, who was essentially wasting away in the early version of Quiet Riot.
Yep.
And bringing him in with, classically trained guy who could just do anything and really did a lot of things nobody really thought of. But again, a record that, starts out with, I Don't Know, great song, Goodbye to Romance. Ozzy probably stretching his legs a little more than he could in Black Sabbath, and Suicide Solution. That's one of my favorite Ozzy songs. I love that song. Mr. Crowley, that brought the kind of a little bit of the Black Sabbath imagery back with Mr. Crowley. No Bone Movies, great song. So it's just loaded up with great guitar work, great strong songs, and I would say also that originally the band's name was going to be Blizzard of Oz. It was going to be the new Ozzy band, and Sharon Osbourne, the most ruthless manager since Colonel Parker, always taking care of Ozzy, decided to put his name out front. And, some of the songwriting credit on this record has been argued over the years that maybe Ozzy's contributions weren't exactly what was put on paper. But that's Sharon, just like, trying to get that was Colonel Parker that was trying to get Dolly to relinquish publishing rights to I Will Always Love You. Smartest move she ever made, not doing that. So just a classic. I will say that this album came out in 1980, but even in 1981, as I entered 10th grade, and I think the whole time I was in high school, you'd walk up from the parking lot, and at this time, they'd already banned like smoking on campus, but all the stoners would go right across the street to this neighbor's house, and there'd be like 20 of them under there with a boombox, always, every day playing Ozzy Osbourne, either playing this or Diary. I mean, I just remember that from high school, but legend. Like, there's an artist whose reputation has only increased as time has went on, and nobody forgets that, Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne. But we got him into 500 tonight. Great record. Outstanding guitar work.
All right. So my next one is Sly and the Family Stone, There's a Riot Going On. This came out in 1971, the best year in music. It's about 6 months after What's Going On, this came out. And it's a little departure from what they were used to. It was a little more upbeat. This album was a little bit darker. Coming off of the fame from Woodstock and their success, they kind of got into the drug scene a little bit, and it got a little dark. But also, you think about the time, 1971, it's right after, the civil rights movement kind of faded a little bit with the assassination of Martin Luther King and RFK. And so this time period was very tumultuous, and it's very reflective into this album. The singles on it were Family Affair, Running Away, and I forgot the last one, Showdown. And the big hit on it was Family Affair. It only sold 1 to 2 million copies, but it's this groove-driven funk and soul. It's really a great album. But right before this album, after Woodstock, this is when the Greatest Hits album came out, because there was about an 18-month gap, and Clive Davis and the record company was getting a little antsy. When are you guys going to get the new album out? So they put that Greatest Hits album out right before it. And I love that album. This album I don't own at the time because it's hard to find a copy that's in good shape. But this is the album that I put into this week's 500.
Yeah, really great record. Family Affair is such a strong song. I mean, I feel like, Sly is another one that maybe people are forgetting a little bit. I think everybody's on Parliament and Funkadelic and, some of these other ones, but Sly and the Family Stone, they had some great songs.
And it was like the first, man and woman band, also black and white integrated band. It was one of the first rock bands that had that composition. So it was a band for everybody, really.
All right.
So Jim, your last record for tonight. Let me get this one out of the way here.
I picked Tears for Fears, songs from the Big Chair. This album was the break. Basically, they were successful before this album, but this album broke them through on the global scale. Sold 10 million copies worldwide. It was number 1 on the Billboard 200 in the United States. Multiple songs on here were basically like anthems for the entire decade, like Shout, Head Over Heels, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I mean, these guys this is still like a killer album to this day. I mean, but those songs to me are like anthems, you know what I mean? Like anytime those songs come on, people turn up the radio, you know what I mean? Still to this day. So
and it dominated MTV. I mean, it was constant. Like every hour there was at least one song.
And I was still pretty young when that came out, and still when my sister was a few years older, so she had the album. So I was like hearing it and hearing it on MTV and stuff like that. I was still pretty young, but as I got older, I got more into it still because she was still into it and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, but they were still to this day. I mean, anytime those songs come on, people turn up the radio.
Yeah, I think you always remember those moments, like the first time you hear the song, and you're on a quest. Like if you can't, like back in the day, kids, we couldn't just look at our phone and see what the song is. And you're on a quest, like, who is that? And I had that moment the first time I heard Shout. I was like, this is one of the best pop rock songs ever. Like, had so much oomph to it. And, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I mean, does anybody else hear a little bit of Beatles in that song? Influence, Head Over Heels, like just they great songs. And, grunge did some great things. Like one thing, it killed hair metal. That was great. But I think the record company's reaction to grunge was also, we didn't get the career album like the run of groups like Tears for Fears should have gotten. They should have had more support because they're really one of the better pop bands to ever exist. But there just wasn't a lot of interest. Like everything, all the record companies were just pushing everybody that sounded like Nirvana or Pearl Jam on us. And I think that made it hard for Tears for Fears to find a place. But they have done 3 albums in recent years, and they're really good records too. They sound good.
All right, Jake, you're up.
So Lastly, I don't have the album. I've sold the reissue numerous times. I did have an original press that I sold eons ago. So Scott is going to show it for me. That would be Metallica's Black Album. A lot of diehard Metallica fans probably are like, blasphemy. But this was, the Metallica album that a lot of kids my age at the time we got into. In fact, Justice for All was really the first Metallica record that I got into because one was all over MTV, the music video. So that's really what that album really kind of got me liking them. But when the Black Album came out in 91, which was one hell of a year musically, all the records that came out that year, this was no exception to the rule. This was a phenomenal album. It was a complete departure from all the heavier stuff they did, in the prior 4 albums. Although some who are bit diehard Metallica fans might feel that Injustice for All was a little Black Album-ish, if you will. I could see some similarities a little bit here and there between the two, although I think probably a little bit harder. But this definitely was their more, produced, album compared to their 4 prior. Was produced by Bob Rock, I believe. Did 16 million in the U.S. Estimated sales 30 to 33 million albums sold.
Yeah. Wow. Jake, I do have to stop you right here, and we just recognize a significant moment. I completely agree with Jake. The Black Album, that is
what?
The one. Yes. Doesn't happen
often. Miracle.
We should recognize the significance of the event.
I think we should. So, y'all, it's not like I hated, Master of Puppets or Kill 'Em All or Ride the Lightning, right? And Justice for All, Garage Days Revisited, right? EP. Like, there are a lot of great songs on it. And I love, the Cliff Burton era. I liked a lot of it. But the Black Album for me, I don't know, man. It touched a nerve. And when I heard Nothing Else Matters, I was like, is that James Hetfield singing? Seriously? He can sing,
Enter Sandman too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite.
Everybody's always in the yeah, just the typical.
Nothing Else Matters was on MTV every day.
But Nothing Else Matters to me, I thought, man, this is an amazing song. It was just completely different. I think that's what made me love it, is that it was a absolute departure from the earlier stuff. And a lot of people may look at it as this is when Metallica sold out. But I have to defend them and say, look, if you're selling 33 million records worldwide, are you selling out? Or did you do something right and hit a nerve in all of your prior efforts to now? The now is really kind of where you need to be. Yeah. I'm sorry. I think the album from start to finish is a masterpiece.
Well, let's think about the band, okay? These guys are getting a little older. If everything was Kill 'Em All, could you imagine trying to play 2 hours at that pace? To me, I won't say I don't like. I understand that it's probably good, but all those records, they're too fast. Like all and what they did, starting a little bit on for Injustice, they started slowing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the riffs had more, catchiness to them, because they just slowed them down. So, but if they went out there and tried to play 2 hours of Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets, they're going to die on stage. That's so fast.
Yeah. Stacey, like, people equate sellout with a change of musical style that the artist wants to go. And there's just this kind of, there's a balance with that. I think that if Metallica was doing Kill 'Em All from start to finish, 12 albums in, they were all Kill 'Em All, do they go anywhere? I think it's just the natural progression of an artist. Is there's always going to be a change. And if that's the case, I think every artist, to some extent, quote unquote, sells out. But I've never like said that, but like said, oh, yeah, they sold out, more so in a derogatory sense. I've never been derogatory with, with that regard. I've always been interested in the direction that a band takes, just where they go musically. Let's think of a couple of bands. Metallica, the Black Album, huge departure from, their four prior. Let's think about what Radiohead did, after OK Computer, what U2 did when they came out with Octung Baby, right? Like all these huge bands, the Beatles with Revolver, Pink Floyd leaving psychedelia and going into, more prog, right? You just think about all these bands, Rush, 2112, going way, from a hard rock kind of Led Zeppelin sounded band to just their own damn planet. Damn it, that's what I love. That's what I love about music. I love when bands do this.
So I have the Jake rule with the first three with Metallica.
So you love their first three. I do too. I just, I was 13 when the Black
and
Album
I don't hate
came out.
their other albums. I just prefer the first three.
Their earlier stuff at that time at my age was too heavy and too fast.
Yeah.
The Black Album, as a 13-year-old kid, was a perfect. It was just even ground. And then that, because I got so into that record for a period of time, like in the summer and winter of '91. It made me go back and listen to a lot of the earlier stuff and appreciate it, right? So,
yeah, I mean, if you don't like the Black Album and your Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, just play the Black Album on 45, and it'll probably sound perfect to you.
Right.
Just
think about this too. Like, think about what the Black Album did to the heavy metal music genre. Right, Metallica being Metallica, coming out with that album, being known for being heavy metal, which was really a niche kind of market, in the early 80s going into late 80s, early 90s. This album brought them out to the forefront. This album got more people, I think, listening to heavy metal, getting into listening to a lot of that earlier stuff. So sometimes, that musical change in direction isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's naive to think your band is not going to change. So if you got a favorite band right now and they just merge on the scene, they're going to evolve. I mean, if it works out well, maybe you evolve with them. But there's only one band I know it made the same record over and over, and that was AC/DC. I mean, they're the only band that never really changed their style.
No, they kind of kept to it.
Yeah.
I do agree. I do agree with that. And then there's some bands that make the change where you're like, what the hell are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
And that was kind of me with Pearl Jam when like No Code came out. It ticked me off.
Mm-hmm.
Did you throw the CD out the window?
He did throw that CD.
Got thrown out the window.
Yeah.
All right. So I shared it in the Discord there's Metallica singing Funeral for a Friend / Love Lies Bleeding. I put it in our show notes on Discord. It is really, really good. Metallica singing Elton John. Who would have thought?
Elton seemed to appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Elton appreciated Eminem coming in, and
yeah,
when Eminem was singing and Elton came in and sang with him. Yeah. I dig that stuff. I love it when, artists from a completely different, time and genre per se collaborate. It makes it interesting.
And I also saw Zach Brown, and they ended with Enter Sandman. It was amazing. All right, Scott.
I heard Snoop Dogg sing Enter Sandman.
Have you?
It was horrible, but he did it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Okay, we haven't had our good friend Joe on. Joe is coming back in May. Just got to get a date confirmed with him after I talked to Stacy about the second episode of 4 Women on the Record. So we've been a little light on blues. I don't think we've had Joe on for quite a while. So tonight it's going to be Robert Cray, Strong Persuader. And this, you talk about accessible blues. This is probably the most accessible. Well, I mean, maybe some Bonnie Raitt too is pretty accessible, but this record is, you know, him taking a run at a little bit more mainstream sound with the heavy blues influence. But it's and we spoke about this album in another discussion. So I was thinking it was already on the 500, but it was not. It came up in discussion. But Smoking Gun, I guess I showed her right next door because of me. A fantastic record. Like if you're looking to get into some blues, I think this would be the one I'd recommend to people as like the first one. Just a great record. Kind of it's not often that a blues artist can get some commercial success, but won a Grammy, sold a couple million copies, and just even to this day, still a great listen. It's not dated or aged. It just sounds great. Got to give my wife credit. This is one of the ones that I think when we were in the Gulf War, I think she had this cassette or something, and I got bored one day and put it in and said, it's pretty good. It's really good. So that record's been with me ever since. So 34 years of Robert Cray.
All right, cool. And that's one you can find probably $5 to $10.
Yeah. You can get the audiophile press for like $40. I think Intervention Records did it. I didn't say this. It's a what year is it? It's in the 80s, late 80s.
Is Intervention the same one?
86.
Is Intervention the same one that did
Billy Squire?
Billy Squire, yeah.
Yeah, and they did a couple Everclear records. They do a great job. Audiophile press, so you can get audiophile for $40. You can probably, at least for $10 get a clean copy of a OG.
All right. Cool. All right. My next record came out in 1965. It's an oldie one. It is Otis Blue. Otis Redding sings soul, and it's often referred to as Otis Blue. This is mainly covers. I think there's 3 songs that he wrote, including Respect, Old Man Trouble, and I've Been Loving You Too Long, which are amazing songs. This came out, 6 months after Sam Cooke was fatally shot. They were very close, and he does sing a couple of his songs on here. So you had Respect, and That's How Strong My Love Is, were some singles on here. It placed in the 200, but it didn't do huge. Respect was probably the biggest hit on there. And of course, we get Aretha covering it a few years later. Probably one of the best songs out there ever. What else? Let's see. You also had on here, of course, the cool thing is with Stax, because it was originally on Stax label, is you had Booker T and the MGs. That was the house band. So you got, you know how amazing they are as a band. And you have them as the backing band. I think, was it Billy Preston? Isaac Hayes is on here on piano. And
I think he had a lot of the Bar-Kays play with him as well, too.
Yeah, you had all these Earl Sims, Steve Crupper. I've heard Steve Crupper's name around before. But yeah, so this is an amazing, and I think, is this the one that's Rhino Reserve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get a really nice pressing for like $30. So that is my last one for tonight.
I will say, go ahead, Jake.
I wanted to continue just quickly a little dialogue since I wasn't here last week and really wanted to be here for the soundtracks. And thank you guys for mentioning the 5 picks. There was a pick that I wanted to mention because it is kind of on par with Shark Crossing Vinyl's pick of the Muppets. And just to defend my dear friend, there was an album that was on my list that I want to briefly talk about and discuss because I would have on the show. And that is Popeye. And I love it because I just got kicked off. Damn you.
You're still here. You're still here.
Damn you, Scott. We're going to talk about it because I just thought Harry Nilsson's writing, the way that the album was put together musically was just super creative. And I loved the movie as a kid. Were absolutely catchy.
How do we get him back?
So again, I understand where the Muppets comes into play. So I just wanted to come in and say, you know what? I had one of those moments as well. And Popeye was easily, one of those albums soundtrack wise, because it was songs written obviously for the movie. Yes, it is a musical, but it is a soundtrack in a sense. And I just always thought it was just so well done.
We missed you, Jake. We missed you.
Well, Jake, you missed a good opportunity not to look like a fool, but you had to come back this week and throw Popeye out there.
Come on. Yeah, I mean, I got to find a way to mess it up. It is a soundtrack, Stacy. Yes. I consider it a soundtrack, even though it is a musical, right? It is a soundtrack. Those songs were written specifically for the film.
Well, unfortunately, Jake did not include it in his 5, and
it was not included in my 5. It was in my 10, though.
I'm going through. I still have to go through the chat. I went through the Discord. We're trying to get ours. Ours were added, so the 20 that we announced last week, they're on. There are going to be 10 more from the chat, either on Discord or the video. So I think next week we could probably announce which 10 we added as a result of audience participation. So 10 more coming.
Cool. See how Jake went rogue and all of a sudden, whoop. All right. So I think that finishes this segment, although Jake did his own segment. But
I'm just protecting you, bud.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Especially from a guy who's named after a Muppet.
True.
That is true. Because if you saw our Discord, there was this big discussion about the Muppet movie, and Jake chimed in, and then someone pointed out that his name is Gonzo, and really doesn't have.
Point well made.
And shut him down, which was pretty funny. And the
well
chat
said,
stopped.
sir.
And the chat stopped the rest of the day after that comment. It was pretty funny. So join us.
It's pretty good.
Join us on the Discord. All right. So this is the next segment where we have. There's a reason why I'm sitting in front of the Tasty Freeze. It's not for the chili dogs. It's to discuss John Cougar Mellencamp's top 5.
All right. Yeah. So I'm just going to call him John Mellencamp. That's his giving name. The Cougar was forced on him by ill-advised PR reps and record companies. So now this is somebody, I said this when I talked about Bob Seger. I don't get it with Mellencamp. Why don't he get more love? It seems to be the Heartland rock is suffering from. I'm sure there'll be a resurgence at some point, but you're talking about somebody who sold 30 million records, and just for a long time. I think you could make a case, along with Elton John and a few other artists, that he might have had the greatest 3-album run in rock history. Just amazing run. So I wanted to show John a little love tonight, because there was a point, in the 80s or 90s, if you would have asked me who my favorite artist is, there's a good chance I would have said it's John Mellencamp. So,
Shark gummies.
And so let's pull up the PowerPoint. So I don't think there'll be a lot of surprises about which 5. I think all the drama is what order. So Shark will take care of that. All right. So John Mellencamp, many studio records. He still makes records now. Can't sing, but still makes records. But did a long career. He did like 3 albums on a off label, and they were trying to turn him into some almost teeny bopper type thing. And he had a kind of he was a big fan of Van Morrison and the Stones, but he didn't really sound like that. Then he got signed to Mercury Rivera label, and he did John Cougar self-titled, which is actually his 4th album. And on that record, it got a little bit of play, but on that record is I Need a Lover,
Yep.
which Pat Benatar covered that song, and it became a big hit for Pat Benatar. So that kind of launched him as somebody with credibility. And then the second record, Nothing Matters and What If It Did, had Ain't Even Done With the Night, which was a hit, and This Time. So he's kind of building, but he still hadn't found what we would think of today as the Mellencamp sound. That would come on the next record. So let's talk through these top 5 and see what I came up with. And number 5 is going to be the album that he found the sound on. American Fool. So everybody knows Jack and Diane, one of the probably most famous drum breakdowns in rock history, when Kenny Aronoff comes in with that. And there's a great backstory on that drum fill. Kenny, back in the day, had a little bit of problem with keeping time. He would get going too fast, and Mellencamp is maybe he's a jerk, but he is a perfectionist. And so Kenny was hired, and for a lot of this album, they brought in somebody else to record the drums. And Kenny thought, that's it, I'm getting fired. And they were stuck on this Jack and Diane song, and they couldn't figure out how to get it together. And Mellencamp was thinking about ditching it off the album because he just couldn't figure out how to, bridge his way into the more up-tempo part of the song. So Kenny just, to his credit, he didn't leave. He just stayed in the studio and watched from the control room. And they said, Kenny, you want to give it a shot? And he goes in and he knows, like, what I got to lose, I'm probably getting fired anyway. So he come up with that iconic drum break and, went on to be his drummer for the most prominent part of his career. So it's got Hurt So Good on it. Some of the album cuts, why I ding this in a little bit, they're more like his old sound which wasn't quite as good. I love the song Thundering Hearts. Might be the most rock song that Mellencamp ever did. But as an album, I don't think it's as strong as some of the ones in front of it. So number 4, this record. So he was coming off of Big Daddy, where that was his artistic experimentation. Didn't really do that great. The one hit single on it was Pop Singer, which was his response to the record company saying, I don't hear a single on this. You got to give us a song for a single. So he made the very sarcastic Pop Singer. If you listen to the lyrics of that, that's basically said, never wanted to be a pop singer. And, it just straight jab at the record company. I don't think they cared. They slapped it on a single and it became a hit. So, but the album didn't do as well. He was coming off of 5 million sales on Small Town, 3 million sales on Lonesome Jubilee, and Big Daddy only did 1 million. And in my view, it's not a great record. But he comes back firing with this one. And this is the only album I brought because this one is hard to find.
What year, Scott?
This is 90 or 91.
Yeah, I've never seen that anywhere.
I haven't either.
Yeah, no U.S. press, only European press. So this is that real thin. Again, our friends in Germany, Johnny and Retta, found me this record.
Johnny and Retta.
If you want it, they can find it. I've seen it. They've had it a couple other times in their store. And it made the list of albums that need to be pressed on vinyl, repressed. It is, where Lonesome Jubilee and Small Town had a lot of there's an accordion, there's fiddles, there's a lot of different instrumentation on those records. This is guitar, bass, drums, straight up. Got a little bit of horns in it in a couple of places, but this is a rock record. This is his most rock record. Has tons of just killer songs. The lead single was a big hit for him, Get a Leg Up, and just really strong record. I I think this is the one. Of the 5 on here, everybody knows the other ones. This is the one that I said, "Oh yeah, he's back." And he was also all these paintings on the cover. Those are his paintings. He's actually a pretty
good artist.
Artist.
Yeah, he is.
And that was his future ex-wife right there. In the he met her on that shoot. She was a model, and they got married, and then they got divorced. It got tough with the 3, and Lonesome Jubilee. It's hard to dig these out because I think Mellencamp has 4 great records. Whenever we wanted in the next 3. This is a great record, but it's got a couple songs on side 2 that aren't on par with some of the songs on the next 2 records. But it's like a photo finish for these last 3. But great song. Cherry Bomb is on this album. Side 1 of it is a masterpiece. It's so strong. Check It Out. And
Check It Out is probably my favorite Mellencamp song.
It's really good. A good, The Real Thing, is on that side, and side 1. But side 2 has 2 really good songs, but it doesn't hold up like side 1 is perfect. Just a great side of a record. All right, went the wrong way. Number 2. And some people might be surprised that I put in front of Lonesome Jubilee. Like I said, it was a photo finish. But yeah, there you go. It had everything on it. Okay, you want a upbeat song like Hurt So Good, you had Crumbling Down. You want a song that was like Jack and Diane, you got Pink Houses, right? And I mean, you could make the case that Pink Houses is a better song than Jack and Diane, but you have album cuts like Serious Business, and you have Authority. I fight authority. Authority always wins. Like, it's just amazing. And then the last song on this record is one of the few ballads that Mellencamp ever did. I think it's called Jackie O. Yeah. It's just great. It's a great record. I really, really appreciate this record. I every time I put it on, I really enjoy it because everybody thinks of Lonesome Jubilee and this next record,
Scarecrow.
I mean, it's hard to, as much as I love you just can't put it in front of Scarecrow because Scarecrow was so deep. There's not really a weak song on it. He had a lot to say, great singles like, again, just the pop rock single, Lonely Old Night, great bass line in that song. You had Small Town, which was an anthem, type song. You had Rain on the Scarecrow, which was about the plight of the farmers back in the day. And this is when he got involved in Farm Aid. Yeah. And, farmers were losing their farms. So, but he's got Minutes to Memory on here. Another fun song, Rumble Seat, is on here. Then you had, a song that was one of his biggest hits that I don't really love, but ROCK in the USA. Just one single after another falling off this album. So you cannot deny, you have to call this the number 1 Mellencamp record. So you guys can fire away. I feel like, I
would say a solid top 5. I'm interested in the 4th pick. I've never heard it.
Oh yeah, you need to check it out. I mean, it's matter of fact, if somebody says, "Oh, I know Scarecrow, and I'm not a big fan of Heartland rock," well, Whenever We Wanted is just straight rock record. It's, I mean, you're only going to stray so far, so it's still Mellencamp, but it's with an edge to it. So I think a lot of guitar. It's the last record that Kenny Aronoff played on. So you got big drum sound. I always said if Mellencamp didn't have Kenny Aronoff, he wouldn't be half as interesting because nobody. Kenny Aronoff is just like my favorite drum fill guy. He knows where to put the runs, and they just sound so good. And they didn't really have that 80s drum sound. They had full on, straight up old school drum sound in Mellencamp, and I love.
You put them over Liberty DeVito?
They're very similar, but
Yeah.
I just think that maybe Aronoff had a little bit wider runway to be a little more outgoing because of that, how iconic that drum fill was in Jack and Diane. They kind of like, okay, give us some more of that, Kenny, and by the way, stay in time.
Yeah.
I mean, he always had a little bit of problem with it. I can see that. I think if I was a drummer, I'd have a hard time staying. I'd probably speed up too.
People don't realize, and I think they should give drummers a hell of a lot more credit. Being a drummer is probably the hardest gig in the entire band. And it's simply exactly what you're talking about, keeping time.
Yeah.
How many drummers can't play to a click track? I guarantee you there's a ton that cannot.
Yeah. If you ever go in a concert and you listen to a song and say, they're singing that a lot faster, it's because the drummer's playing it faster.
Yeah.
The whole speed of the song is based off the drummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's our top 5 for this week, guys. Again, put in the comments what do you think, and maybe even if you have suggestions on future top 5 that we can do, feel free to share it on here or even on our Discord or send us a message. We're always looking for different ideas to do top 5. So definitely give us if there's something you're interested in us doing. Let's do that. Hey, how about we do a new segment like we did last week? The unpopular opinion. Last week was Kiss. All right. So mine this week is Pink Floyd. I don't get it. I have the albums. I haven't listened to them in years. Look at Jake. Look at Jake's look.
It's starting to add up.
Like I almost feel
Muppets last week, Pink Floyd.
should probably take me off the show right now.
I rarely listen to Pink Floyd. I mean, every once in a while I'll put on Dark Side. I was watching the movie The Wall a couple weeks ago, but it's not on my regular rotation. So I don't want to say I don't hate them. It's just not in my rotation. It's just not something I play.
Well, in fairness,
I'm
I could
confused.
see that. I don't think that Pink Floyd has mass appeal, but I don't really believe that they're for everybody.
This new segment sucks.
I enjoy it because last week was pretty good with Kiss when we had a huge Kiss fan in our room, and that was what we're talking about. And again,
we're talking about like one of my top 2 favorite bands of all time. I mean, Adam is a huge Deadhead, has every damn Grateful Dead boot and video, DVD, VHS tape, Betamax, you name it. Like that's probably me with a lot of the Floyd stuff as well. Like I'm getting into all of that. Now the live stuff, it's got to be Dark Side and beyond, because all the stuff played from 1970 and prior, it's all psychedelic stuff. So I can understand that. But you've got several albums from from Meddle, if you will, all the way to the Division Bell that are just gold.
Let me say you got to eat more gummies.
Exactly.
That seems to be the popular sentiment from.
Well, right now it's chocolates. I have no gummies. It's chocolates.
Now, I wasn't here for the Kiss thing, so I do want to say my 2 cents, and then I'll shut the hell up. The thing about Kiss, their albums with regards to let's talk about hits and several songs on an album that are great. I don't think I could really find an album where, but as far as a performing band, a live band, and what they delivered live, they were, entertainers. They put on one hell of a live show. And I think that's really where they cut their teeth on their live performances. Same thing with Twisted Sister. I look at Twisted Sister in a lot of ways as the way I do with Kiss. They were great performing bands live. Albums wise,
Well, that makes it unanimous, right? So all three of the three men on the record, we are not the biggest Kiss fans. So.
So that was our second week of our new segment, and stay tuned for next week.
I can't wait for next week because I'm definitely going to do my 2 cents.
Yeah, we'll rotate. So every week somebody has to reveal a dark, deep, unpopular opinion on music.
I might retaliate next week.
So yeah, there we go. All right. So what can we talk about now? We're actually ahead of schedule. Look at that. With Jake here, we're ahead of schedule. It's
I told
amazing.
y'all, hey, I would take it easy on the return, make it easy on everybody's ears.
Well, I appreciate Stacy's put some top 5 ideas. So let's talk about top 5 ideas. So next week's top 5 is going to be a Johnny one. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but I talked to Johnny on the phone this week, and he's got a good one. It's not going to be artist based. He really liked the audience participation from the soundtrack, so he's going to do a kind of take on that. So stay tuned for that one next week, led by Johnny. The other thing that's going to be kind of first time ever next week is we're going to be on at the regular time, 8:00, but we might go at 6:45, 6:50, something. There's going to be a show before the show, and the show before the show is going to be called Closing Arguments. It's a brand new segment. We'll do a series of these, but the closing argument is grunge v. post-grunge alternative. And representing grunge will be the Esquires Johnny and Jake, and representing post-grunge alternative will be, well, I shouldn't say Esquire in a joking way about Josh. He really is an attorney. Josh and Scott. So we're going to battle it out. We'll probably figure out a way. We weren't going to do it live. We were actually just going to record this segment and put it out. But Johnny really wanted to do it live. So that might be fun. You guys can weigh in on Stacy. Make sure you show up. I know you're still working, but I need you to show up because Josh and I will be fighting for our lives here. And don't. It's kind of like a job, right? Our job is to defend the genre that we've been assigned. I love grunge music, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, but I do like post-grunge alternative slightly better.
Stacy, for the record, this wasn't the essential. This was more on the soundtrack side. Mm-hmm. But I want you to give this album a listen. Seriously, give it a listen. And I want a book report. I want your thoughts. I seriously do. I love it, man. So we do have so that's next week. Next week's going to be huge. To really have 2 shows coming next week. And then I have not confirmed anything because me and Stacy need to pick the May date for the 4 women. So Stacy, right now it's all open. Give me the date at your earliest convenience, and then I will start filling in the rest. I do have a commitment from Joe, so Joe will be back. Joe Willie.
He'll be back, and he'll have some blues. So that's
I got Joe on the hunt right now. He might have found me a pretty darn good cassette player that he has that I might grab from him. I'm going to go back to the old school ways. I haven't owned a cassette tape since 1990. and I'm going to go back and listen, mainly because I have the cassette, the CD, and the LP of Pink Floyd's Pulse. And I've never listened to the cassette tape of this when it came out. I only listened to the CD originally when I got it when it came out.
Well, Jake, you enjoy that because I will never willingly listen to another cassette tape in my life. They sound.
Part of me wants to do it, Scott, because I want to see like, okay, does it really sound like utter crap, or does it sound good? It's been so long, I don't remember.
Okay.
Have fun rewinding and fast forwarding.
I mean, that part I hate. I always hated about it, right? And I never liked 8-tracks ever.
Or
you listen straight through it.
The tape is
1980 Camaro convertible.
It would. I mean, the loss of high end on cassette tapes. I mean, there's just a lot. I mean, from where I'm at in my life, I have no interest in listening to a cassette.
Yeah, Stace. I mean, and I think that's kind of what I told Sean. I'm like, Sean, maybe the thing I want to do is maybe I want to go back and get all the Floyd CDs because I have all the LPs.
Oh,
that's right. I have a cassette for you, don't I?
And then I wanted to go, and I was like, you know what, Sean, maybe I'll go and I'll get the tapes. And a lot of this I was at the record store getting some stuff. And I look up and I see some CDs, and there's this Jimmy Buffett CD box set. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get that for Sean as a Christmas present. So I take a picture of it. I'm like, hey, man, do you have this? And my dumb ass, he's like, yeah, I have it. And I have the cassette tapes, too. So it just made me kind of go on this. Well, maybe I should go back and maybe get all the Floyd, because all the Beatles stuff I had as a kid, all on cassette tape. CDs were just too expensive. And at that time, as a young kid, I still didn't have an allowance. Right. So, I had to cut grass for $10, and $10 only got me tapes. That's all I could afford. So
I was thinking the CD players were too expensive.
Were expensive as hell, too.
Cassette players were cheaper, and the cassettes were cheaper. So that's what I think. I had more cassettes.
When I was 14, my neighbor, she was practically a big sister to me. She bought me a CD Walkman, and that just changed everything.
I think the CD Walkmans back there were like $100. It was like $100.
They were expensive as hell. They were so expensive.
Well, I think nostalgia is a big part of it. And at some point I owned like 600 cassettes. I never liked the sound of cassettes, but I had a cassette player in the car. So that's kind of, before I upgraded to CDs, that's kind of what you had to listen to in the car. So I get it. When I watch like Toothpaste King, Tom's show, or I watch Kelsey's show, it's cool. It is nostalgic to see those covers, and Jim sells some. So I was in one of his cassette shows too, but I just think they sound bad, and I have too much junk. I don't need any more clutter. I'm just collecting cassettes.
So, there you go. Do you think cassettes, cassette tapes now? I mean, it's a question for Jim and Tom, if Tom is here. Anybody here that's like, are cassettes, cassette tapes now better than cassette tapes, when I was buying them in the 80s? Has anything changed?
They're selling the same ones.
Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
they're probably. I don't know. I just collect them because you
remember the days when the tape would get stuck in the machine and then be ruined.
Yeah, Stacey, you have a point. That's like another reason why I got a crap ton of CDs. A lot of the stuff I'll sell, but it just kind of goes back where you're like, well, look, I could pay $65 for this record, but I could easily, pay maybe $5 to $10 for the CD.
Yeah, I mean, CDs sound fantastic on a good system.
Jake,
cassettes do not sound fantastic on a good system.
Jake, just get an 8-track player because I have an 8-track to cassette adapter.
God, no. God, no. Can I do a...
But I have an 8-track to cassette, so you can play both.
What's the new segment called?
It's called Closing Arguments.
8-track players, absolute crap. Who the hell would want them?
There's a following, but I mean, some people just collect their artists. Like if they're a Floyd fan, they're gonna get the 8-tracks if they can.
Adam says, I feel like Jews didn't get allowances. So Adam, I had a $10 allowance from the time I think I was a freshman in high school through junior year of high school. $10 a week. That money was spent on music, Taco Bell, cigarettes. When $5 gas money went a long way, and then I didn't have enough money to get CDs.
Why
right?
didn't you get a job?
Year,
do nothing?
Huh?
Why didn't you get a job?
I did. I had a summer job.
Oh.
I would work a summer job. But my summer job usually went towards more school clothes, then music, Taco Bell, and cigarettes. Obviously, I had to sneak on the side. But by the time I was a senior, I think, my dad, I remember when he was like, hey, son, you're a senior. It's your last year. And he's like, I know you love going out and buying music. And my dad, obviously being a big Beatles guy, loved music too. We bonded a lot over that. He was like, yeah, I'll give you $20. I'll send you $20 a week. And that was great because I could go in and now get, 2 CDs.
Oh.
Well, someone's asking about reel to reel, and there's a lot of limitations with reel to reel too.
Joe is a great resource on that because he owns one.
Right.
I used to have one. I like reel to reel. It's just, the reel to reel sounds good.
It's expensive.
Well, but it doesn't have a wide dynamic range like that of digital or. So there are some issues there are some serious limitations with it.
Y'all don't miss the good old days, man. Columbia House, 10 CDs for a penny. I miss that stuff, man. That's nostalgia to me.
Well, it's it's cool till you have to buy the albums then for like $99 a piece to fulfill your contract.
I did it. You know what? I fulfilled my contract. I did it one time. First time, no bueno. Second time, I fulfilled it. I would just keep, making sure I win. It was like, no, I don't want that title, but I'll spend X amount on these. So I just always made sure to go back in and select the ones I wanted. But I remember when I accomplished it and went through the contract, it was a big win for me.
Yeah. Well, I remember there was 2 clubs. There was
Columbia
RCA,
House,
which become BMG. So BMG and Columbia House, and boom, instant little mini collection. You got like 20.
Hell yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And then you had to remember they kind of got you. They tried to put you in a tough spot because they'd send you the thing and you'd have to send it back if you didn't want to buy it.
That's right.
So
and man, I used to do that quite a bit. I just stuck with it.
When I moved into an apartment when I was in college, I was getting Columbia House mail for somebody, the past student that lived there, like Joe Smith or whatever. I sent it in with the penny and got all the CDs. And then after the semester was over, I never paid for it or whatever, and just left.
You just said, I don't know who this Joe Smith is, but he don't live here anymore.
I don't know, Joe.
10 CDs a semester for free or whatever.
What do you think they did with that penny? I mean, someone had to open up the envelope with the freaking penny, threw it in a.
It cost them $3 to deposit that one penny.
Yeah.
Adam, my first summer job, I was 14 years old. I worked at the biggest McDonald's in Texas by the Galleria in Houston.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
It was a 2-story McDonald's. That was my first job. I worked drive-through. And I remember the first paycheck I got, it was a week stint of work that I did where I worked 7 days straight because some people got laid off or whatever. And I was like, I'll come in and work a shift. I was getting paid $4.25 an hour. And I remember that first paycheck was $202, and I thought I hit the jackpot. Like when that check came in and I saw $202 for a 14-year-old kid, every damn nickel went to CDs, cigarettes, and horrible scalper music T-shirts that were just horrible.
Well,
You could
Jake,
just tell they were,
I mean, good for you, because if somebody would have asked me to guess, I would have said, oh, I'd bet Jake's first job was probably associated with the juvenile delinquency work release program.
Yeah,
Nope.
picking up trash on the side of the road
Yeah,
with those,
in a little
with
orange
those sticks.
jumpsuit.
with the stick in the bag.
No, man, Mickey D's all the way. Second job was I was a sandwich artist at Subway back in the days
A
when
sandwich artist.
a sandwich artist. That goes to show how old I am. A sandwich artist at Subway. When you cut the top part out of the bread,
The old way. When
put it to the side, put your damn meat in, and then put it back on top. What the hell is that?
I remember when they changed that. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yep.
All right.
My best
CDs, cigarettes,
friend-
gas, T-shirts, and the
The rentals.
my
You damn Skippy.
My best friend in 7th grade, his mom gave him a note to go to the cigarette store for him all the time, for all the time. So the guy like knew he was allowed to buy cigarettes. So he would go and buy a whole bunch of cigarettes and sell them. So him and I did it kind of. He did it more, but we were rolling in it. Like not to seven, we were selling it to older kids.
Goodfella style out of the
Yeah,
truck.
You know,
that's what I said.
he was super popular.
Future made guy right there.
Yeah, dude. How many cottons you want, Johnny?
All right. Well, hey, I do. Well, I got to say again, welcome back, Jake. We're glad you sold the house. You got that taken care of, and come back. It's always more fun with you.
Glad to be back.
Appreciate Jim hopping on with us. We Jim and I worked together on some of the Japanese press stuff, and I do want to do a little shameless plug. We have this little big show coming up on Saturday. Got 330 of the best records you ever want, so come hang out with us. Going to have a lot of fun. The best part of it is we got a couple friends coming over. Sean is on his way to my house tomorrow, as is Retro. And Sean's going to do a whatnot show or two from the desk here. And Devo Josh is going to join us again. He was out here last time. He's going to run before the big show. And then that's so he'll probably be on around 4 or 5, depending on how long he wants to go. Sean will be in the morning time at some point. So don't tell him he's late, because I saw he has like a weird 9:13 start time.
Yeah, 9:17 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something like that.
but he'll be on it sometime once he gets up and we get him set up and ready to go. And he'll go a couple hours, and then we'll grab some food and do the reset. Devo will come back, and big time giving away a lot of stuff. So, if Steely Dan Asia is too expensive for you, we're going to give away a Metallica US press. We're giving away a Carole King MoFi that has a Japanese market sticker on it. It's kind of cool. So there's a ton of stuff, probably like 20 giveaways. Some people also did, like Stacy's on here. She did a sponsorship, which is allowing us to put more into the giveaways. So when Jim gets down tomorrow, we're going to talk about how big we can go on the giveaways. Should be a lot of fun.
Also, hey guys, I wanted to go and put push this as well. A little early on in the game, but just wanted to kind of put it in people's ears. Austin Record Convention's coming up next month, into May. Myself, Gonzo Shenanigans, and D&D Collectibles, we are going to be there. We will be live. We will be running from various booths at the convention. So anybody interested in anything, please tune in on that. If there are any requests, anything that y'all are looking for, feel free to reach out to myself or also D&D Collectibles. David and I are going to, have a little bit of fun with that. So pretty excited to bring the Austin Record Convention to a lot of the peeps on Whatnot.
Yeah, we're going to try to, if everything settles down for everybody, we're going to try to have a concerted effort to do the Austin show next spring.
Yep, we
with
are.
all of us, and we're going to try to bring some friends. We're going to try to make the Austin show almost like a Whatnot vinyl meetup. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, but we've been talking. We're going to get a table And so we have a home base, and all the Whatnot sellers are welcome. We really, I mean, we might sell some vinyl, but it's really about promoting Three Men, promoting the Whatnot vinyl community. I'm going to reach out to Whatnot and see if they'd like to partner with us on this. So put a mark on the calendar, late May to 2027. Maybe we can all meet up in Austin. So there's a lot of Austin hotels are very expensive. So maybe we can coordinate some Airbnbs and rental cars and just make it a lot more affordable. But it is a terrific event. I had a great time hanging out with Jake. We did get some cool records. We met some Whatnot people. We had Wes on here a few episodes. He's always there with his record store, and that's where we met in person D&D for the first time. We met him at the Austin show last year. So anyway, be thinking about it. And I think we've promoted everything. I did also. Adam is on here too, and he did a sponsorship. And Thomas did a sponsorship for tomorrow night. So thank all you guys. We will be, promoting you and calling you out. That'll be Sean's job, because everybody bet Sean would end up not with a job. So his job is going to keep us on pace with the givvies. Tell us it's time for a givvy and hand us the right one. So. I don't think it'll be so straightforward. I don't even think Sean could mess it up.
I think that could happen easily.
Well, where'd that record go? It'll be sitting right in front of you.
Where's that record? Sean, it's right in front of you.
We did it without his help last time, so.
Yeah. That's probably the one thing we didn't do great, but yeah, we did make it. All right.
Snuggle Gonzo if it means a cheap room. Hey, Adam, if you're here, I think Adam's going to be down here in July. Hey, man, let's go grub. Let's go eat some barbecue. David came down last. I took him over to Salt Lick. Let's go eat something at Salt Lick. I'm generally off Thursday, Friday, so I definitely want to see Adam. I want to make sure he takes a look at the grill. I want a full assessment on the teeth of shenanigans, make sure everything is good to go. That's the purpose.
Bring your tools. Bring your tools.
Bring your tools, please.
We need
I would
some
love a
root
free
canals
teeth
so
cleaning.
we can do some shopping this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sean, just make sure when you were there tomorrow, every Pink Floyd CD you see, grab it for me, please.
All right.
Run as fast as you can.
Good luck, Sean, because my CD overstock is so disorganized that you're basically going to have to look through 2,000, 3,000 CDs to try to find a.
He can do it. I believe in him.
I'm just making sure he's not, while he's running his show, he doesn't reach behind him and grab one of my audio file presses and
because I want to run
it
one
for $1.
a random one off the wall.
No.
Sean's going to be focusing on his strategies for winning giveaways on Saturday.
No, both Sean and I will be doing that.
Yeah, me and him usually coordinate.
Now and everything.
Yeah. Me and him
No,
usually
that's mine and
coordinate.
Sean's thing. We're in for the givvies, damn it.
Yeah, we're usually on the phone talking and coordinating.
We're talking during the shows.
Well, Jake invested like $25 and took home a $150 Japanese press. So good strategy will pay off sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're gonna have all the giveaways numbered in an order. So if Sean jumps the script, we're gonna notice if we see him on the phone. Hey,
Oh, Jake
And then
win
hand
this
us
one.
like-
Oh, Jake, you win.
I'm already feeling it. I'm on a roll right now. I will win something.
I've
I'm
already put some
excited.
free bids in, and I changed my shipping to local, and
That's right. Local
Yeah, that's
shipping
good.
available.
I have to go back in and check, see what else, if there's anything new since the other day.
Well, we did Jim added some buy now, so I think we're up to over 150 buy now items now, and we might add a couple more. But the only thing added to the auction was there is a Lenny Kravitz. Are you going to go my way? Japanese press, very
Hold
rare.
up, wait, what?
Yeah.
1993.
Bull. God, I really want to curse on this right now.
But you don't have that.
What? It's in the store?
It's in the store. Got added today.
What an ass.
And
I'm checking the store right now.
it's in there. I'm telling you, it's in there. All right. Hey, great episode. Thank you, chat. I appreciate. We appreciate all the chats and the people that tune in live. If you joined late like Adam because you were probably making some scrumptious dinner, you can always go back and watch the restream of it. Although I will say, I think the best way to watch restream is to give it about 24 hours for the chat. It takes a while for the chat to get loaded in. So if you want to enjoy the chat, wait 24 hours, then watch it like tomorrow night or something, and it's all similar to what everybody's seeing here tonight.
There you go.
All right.
Keep score of how many gummies.
Gummy colas. Boom.
Okay, guys, that's all right, guys. This was a great show today. That was a lot of fun, and we basically came in line with the 2-hour time frame. We went a little over, but we pretty much kept it where it needs to be. So, congratulations! And I didn't think we were going to do it with Jake. I thought we were going to go like 4 hours with Jake tonight, but we didn't. So join us next week for the what is it called? The grunge versus.
Oh, it's
grunge.
called, Sean. You got to get up on this, man. You're our MC. Closing arguments.
Closing arguments. There you go.
And Sean is I don't know whether he's the court reporter or the judge.
I get it for how I can put a timer up on here.
Yeah, he's going to have to try to. I mean, when you think about it, it ought to be interesting. So you got a former federal bureaucrat, a real estate salesman, a real lawyer, and a military officer. It ought to be entertaining.
There's got to be a way I can do a timer or something. I'll have to figure that out. But all right, so yeah, guys, will join us next week for that. It'll be starting a little bit early with that, and then the show shortly after I already forgot the name of it again. But we'll see you next week, guys. Closing arguments, and I'll have it written in front of me when we do it. So you guys all have a great week, and we'll see you Saturday. Jake, you got any shows going on this week, or you taking
I'm
it
actually
easy?
going to go on, I think, for a little bit in the morning. My girls are about to go to a camp for the weekend, so I might go on for a couple of hours and then go up to the school and bring them lunch and have lunch with them before they leave. So, yeah, I'll probably be on a couple hours.
All right, guys, so check that out, and then us on Saturday. You guys all have a great day, great night, great week. Bye.
Bye.
Night.